I know what you're thinking. Week of Thanksgiving, Josh, are you really going to do one of those things I'm grateful for videos? Yes. Yes, I am. So, to get started, I just want to say these are going to be things that are kind of related to music, so it kind of ties into, what we're always talking about. But, definitely grateful for having health and family and a roof over my head, because definitely in a year like this, those things should not be taken for granted. But let's talk about things that are kind of related to music and things like that. Something a little bit more fun. So one of the things I was thinking about that I am grateful for, that I think sometimes people miss is I am grateful for the ability to be creative and to think creatively. I think that's something that doesn't get acknowledged and is sometimes difficult for people. So I just want to take a minute and just be appreciative for the ability to think creatively, and whether we want to thank our parents for that or ourselves or however we want to think about that. I just want to be thankful for the fact that I have found the things that I am passionate about. There's a lot of people that I talk to who don't really know what they're passionate about. They have interests and hobbies and things, but when I ask them, what are the top 3 things that you are just like, you really just couldn't live without, they're not sure. And even if they can narrow it down a little bit, they're not, they just don't really have like a grasp that they feel like they can have ownership over. So I am grateful for kind of knowing who I am as a person a little bit more and as a musician also. So wanted to acknowledge that. I'm also grateful for the fact that I grew up, in this time. 2020 has been rough, but in general, I've always been grateful that I grew up in this time with the technology that we have, because I don't think that I would have gotten as far if I'd been born like 20, 30 years ago before computers and having to record on tape and having, if I wanted to do an edit, I had to cut the tape and, do that whole thing. And when I read about what it takes or what it took to, maintain tape machines and get them in alignment, and what happens if they're not in alignment, and, all this stuff, it just sounded like something that I would have, gotten frustrated and, not been interested in doing. So, I'm glad that I'm born now and I've got tools that I feel like I can work with. I'm also, grateful for the ability to work from home. I actually had this studio for the last 5 years, and it's attached to my home. I'm even able to keep my dog. Let's see, where's my dog? Right down there. Have my dog out here with me. So I'm grateful for that. And that just like is just double so, during a pandemic year. So I want to be grateful for that. And I also wanted to say that, when I first moved out to LA, I was out here to be a drummer, and I lived in apartments where I couldn't practice drums. And so I know what it's like to, have to rent a studio outside of the home. And anytime that I wanted to practice or record or do anything, I actually had to, get in the car and go drive through traffic to be able to do that. And there was a lot of times where I was able to just kind of talk myself out of it, of like, I don't want to go sit in traffic to go record or go play drums or whatever. And then there would also be times where, I would get in the car and, persist. And by the time that I had driven all the way there and dealt with whatever you have to deal with, you're kind of like out of that space. You're kind of like, frustrated from the drive, or, the idea doesn't feel as exciting as it did when you had it back at home. So I like being able to work, have easy and quick access to my studio and my gear and stuff like that. And then lastly, I wanted to say that I am super grateful for the community of people that I am surrounded by, who inspire me to put in the work and make and push me to become better than I was yesterday. I don't take that for granted because I grew up in a small town in the Midwest where, it was like a population of 20, 30,000 people, something like that. And, there were some good musicians there and some great musicians actually. And, I just always wish that there was more of those people, and I found that community online in Triple Threat Artist and in some of the other groups that I'm in, and just my community here in LA. So yeah, I'm grateful for that. It feels like I'm part of a family that understands, understands the amount of work and the struggle and the frustration, and then the reward that can come from persisting and working hard. So yeah, it's nice to have people nice to be surrounded by people who understand. All right. I am no longer able to speak, so I'm going to wrap this up. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving if you're here in the States, and if you're outside of the United States, then just have a great regular week. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you next time.